Now, let's complete the reading comprehension paper from the 2014 SATs. So we can see from the front cover that we have 3 different texts and we'll need to answer comprehension questions on each of these. So what I like to do is take a very quick look at the first text, which we can see is called The Humble Potato. We have information organised under the subheadings, where it all began, how the potato arrived in Britain, potatoes today, good to eat and good to grow, and grow your own potatoes project. And then we have a box of potato facts at the bottom. So already we can see that what we have here is a non-chronological report about the potato. Now, rather than reading the text straight away, what I like to do is open the answer booklet and have a look at the first question. Question 1. Where were potato plants first grown for food? So the word where tells us that we need to find a place. So let's start reading the text. Potatoes were first grown for food in South America thousands of years ago. So the place it mentions where they were first grown for food is South America. So that's our answer. Question 2. How long could the chuno pulp be stored for? So here, how long tells us that we need a length of time. So let's keep on reading the text and perhaps looking particularly for the word chuno or pulp. People found a way to preserve them by leaving them out at night in the cold and then warming them in the sun the following day. During the day, the potatoes were crushed by stamping on them. After doing this for 5 days, chuno, a potato pulp, was made which could be stored and kept for up to 10 years in case crops failed. So we have mention of the chuno pulp and they've told us that it could be stored and kept for up to 10 years. So that's the amount of time. That's our answer. Question 3. Which of these were the Spanish traders looking for? Tick 1. Potatoes, food, gold, or farms? Let's continue reading the text. In 1532, Spanish traders who had been searching for gold brought potatoes back from South America and used them on board ships as food. So searching means the same as looking, and we're told that the Spanish traders had been searching for gold. So that's our answer to question 3. Question 4. Look at the section headed Where It All Began. Find and copy one phrase which shows that some people in Europe were unsure about eating potatoes. So find and copy tells us that we have to write it exactly as it's written in the text. And the word phrase tells us that we'll need to write more than one word. We'll need to write a group of between 2 and 6 words. So let's look at the section Where It All Began. Now we've already started reading this, and we haven't so far found any phrases that show that some people in Europe were unsure about eating potatoes. So perhaps we could read on. It was not long before farmers in Spain began to grow what they called patatas, and the potato spread across the rest of Europe. They were regarded with suspicion, however, and many people thought they weren't suitable for humans to eat, partly because of their odd shape. In some places, they were grown just as food for animals. So here we've underlined phrases which show us that some people in Europe were unsure about eating potatoes. Regarded with suspicion shows that people were unsure, and even if we don't know what this phrase means, we could guess that it means unsure, because in the text they've just explained that the potatoes spread across the rest of Europe, and so the next thing we have is how the rest of Europe reacted to the spread of the potato. They were regarded with suspicion. People thought they weren't suitable for humans, which again shows us that some people were unsure whether humans should be able to eat them or whether it was suitable for humans to eat them. We could mention their odd shape, or we could say that in some places they were grown just as food for animals, though because it asks for a whole phrase, not a sentence, we wouldn't write in some places they were grown, we would write just as food for animals, because the question asks us to copy one phrase. So we can have regarded with suspicion, weren't suitable, odd shape, or just as food for animals. And what's in brackets we can include and we'll still get the mark, but we don't need to include what's in brackets. However, if we include more than what's in brackets, for example for this first one, if we write something after or something before the brackets, then we will not get the mark, because we will have written something too long to be a phrase. Question 5. What did Spanish fishermen use to preserve fish? Tick 1. Milk, soil, salt, or water? So let's read the text carefully and see what the Spanish fishermen used to preserve fish. How the potato arrived in Britain. There are different opinions about how the potato came to Britain in the late 1500s. One view is that Spanish fishermen ate potatoes on their fishing trips to the North Sea. So here we have a paragraph about Spanish fishermen, so we're likely to find the answer to what they used to preserve fish in this paragraph. On their way home, they would land in Ireland to put salt on the cod they had caught to stop it rotting. So we have our answer in this sentence. Cod is a type of fish, and even if we didn't know that, we could guess that cod is a type of fish because it says the cod they had caught, so they were fishermen and they had caught cod. And to stop it rotting tells us that they used the salt to preserve the fish. So our answer for this question is salt. Question 6. Look at the section headed How the Potato Arrived in Britain. Find and copy a phrase that suggests that people are not sure how the potato first came to Britain. So again, find and copy tells us that we have to write exactly what's written in the text, and the word phrase tells us that we need between 2 and 6 words. We need a phrase that says people are not sure how the potato first came to Britain. So let's read the section How the Potato Arrived in Britain. There are different opinions about how the potato came to Britain in the late 1500s. So already we have a phrase, so a group of words, which says that people are not sure, that people think different things. One view is that Spanish fishermen ate potatoes on their fishing trips to the North Sea. On their way home, they would land in Ireland to put salt on the cod they had caught to stop it rotting. It is believed that the sailors gave some of their potatoes to the farmers who grew them in the rich Irish soil. So in this paragraph, it starts with one view, which suggests that there are some different views as well, that people don't agree or are not sure, and it is believed that also tells us that people are not sure. They haven't written it is certain that or it is known that, they've written it is believed that. So it's something that people believe, but not something that people know for certain. Let's keep reading the section to see if there are any other phrases or better phrases which show that people are not sure. Another view is that Sir Walter Raleigh, an explorer who went to the Americas many times, brought potatoes back to his Irish farm and planted them there. It is said that he gave a potato plant to Queen Elizabeth I as a gift, and to celebrate, a royal feast was held to eat the potatoes. Legend has it that the cooks threw away the potatoes and instead served up the boiled stems and leaves, which are poisonous. This made everyone very ill, and potatoes were then banned from the royal menu. So here we have another view, so similar to one view, it's saying that people have different views or different opinions, and it is said that, again shows that people are not sure. It is said that, but not that we know for certain. However, it is said that is what Walter Raleigh did with the potato plant. It is said that he gave it to Queen Elizabeth I as a gift. So that's not talking about how it arrived in Britain, that's talking about what he did after it had arrived in Britain. So to get the mark for this question, we can write different opinions, believed or it is believed that, one view, another view, or we can, though it's not as good, we can write it is said. Question 7. Look at the section headed How the Potato Arrived in Britain. Identify one piece of information which shows that potatoes were an exciting discovery. So, identify one piece of information means that we need to write something from the text, so that could be something that happens in the text. And for this question, we need to infer. The text won't say this shows that they were an exciting discovery, but as we read the information in the section, we need to think if the information shows that they were exciting for people. So let's look at the section How the Potato Arrived in Britain. So we've already read this section, and here we'll find our answers towards the end. It is said that he gave a potato plant to Queen Elizabeth I as a gift. So that's a piece of information which shows that potatoes were an exciting discovery. The fact that he gave them to the Queen, that they were given to royalty, and also that potatoes were given as a gift. And to celebrate, a royal feast was held to eat the potatoes. So clearly it was an important occasion because a feast was held to eat the new potatoes. Legend has it that the cooks threw away the potatoes and instead served up the boiled stems and leaves, which are poisonous. This made everyone very ill, and potatoes were then banned from the royal menu. So this last section, or the last few sentences of the paragraph, do not show that they're exciting. Instead, they show that they were unpopular, that the cooks got it wrong, and that potatoes were banned. So for this question, we need to write that they were suitable for royalty. For example, we could write, Sir Walter Raleigh gave Queen Elizabeth I a potato plant as a present, or they were fit for a queen to eat. We could write that they were given as a gift, or we could write that a feast was held to celebrate them. We could also mention that potatoes came to Britain from the Americas, which was unusual or a long way to bring them at that time. Question 8. Legend has it that the cooks threw away the potatoes. Draw a line to show the phrase that is closest in meaning to legend has it. It is certain that, it is believed that, it is hoped that, or it is not that. So, closest in meaning means that we need to choose the option that means the same thing or means nearly the same thing. And to help us, we can find the phrase legend has it in the text. So we have legend has it here. And to help us, it's sometimes useful to read the sentence before and the sentence after the phrase so that we can get a good idea of what it's talking about. Starting with the sentence before, it is said that he gave a potato plant to Queen Elizabeth I as a gift, and to celebrate, a royal feast was held to eat the potatoes. So in this sentence, we start with it is said that, and that suggests that people don't know for sure. It's something that people say, but not something that people know, or something that people are certain about. Then we have legend has it that the cooks threw away the potatoes and instead served up the boiled stems and leaves, which are poisonous. This made everyone very ill, and potatoes were then banned from the royal menu. So that gives us a clue for how we need to answer this question. we know that it is not certain that, because it was only said that if we read the sentence before. It is believed that is the option that we need. And if we think we might have heard the word legend before, perhaps we might have read myths and legends and therefore know that legends are stories that people believe but that we do not know for sure are true. It is hoped that wouldn't work because we know that the cooks threw away the potatoes and served up the stems, and this made everyone very ill. So you wouldn't hope that something would make people very ill. And it is not that doesn't work either, because the text is explaining something that might have happened or that people believe happened. Question 9. Look at the section headed How the Potato Arrived in Britain. Why are the words, which are poisonous, written in brackets? Tick 1. To explain to the reader that they are deadly. To explain why they were boiled. To explain why they were thrown away. Or to explain why people were ill. So notice each of our options starts with the words to explain. So here we need to think the words in brackets, the words which are poisonous, help to explain which of these things. So let's find the words which are poisonous in the text, and to help us we can read the sentence that they're in and perhaps the sentence after the brackets as well. Legend has it that the cooks threw away the potatoes and instead served up the boiled stems and leaves, which are poisonous. This made everyone very ill, and potatoes were then banned from the royal menu. So here we need to think, if we didn't have the brackets in this sentence, what would we not understand? Well, we might not understand that serving up the boiled stems and leaves would lead to everyone becoming very ill. It's only because we know that the stems and leaves are poisonous that we know, or that we can understand, why they made everyone very ill. So for this question, we need to tick to explain why people were ill. It's not to explain to the reader that they are deadly, because if we look at the sentence closely, it doesn't say that people died, only that people became very ill. To explain why they were boiled doesn't work either. Which are poisonous wouldn't explain why you would boil the potato or why you would boil the stems and leaves unless boiling them made them not poisonous. And to explain why they were thrown away doesn't work either. The cooks threw away the potatoes, but which are poisonous doesn't describe the potatoes, it gives more information about the stems and leaves. So we need to tick to explain why people were ill. Question 10. Look at page 5. Explain why the potato crop is important to people today, all over the world. Give 2 reasons. So let's start reading page 5, and as we read, we can underline anything that tells us that potatoes are important. Potatoes today, good to eat and good to grow. Potatoes are very popular today, and despite what some people think, they are also good for you. A baked potato contains a surprisingly large amount of vitamin C, and more fibre than 2 slices of wholemeal bread. Potatoes also provide carbohydrates and other important nutrients like vitamin B6. They are low in fat too, provided you don't fry them or add lots of butter. So this paragraph is all about explaining the nutritional qualities of potatoes, so explaining why they're good for you. So we can write that of one of our reasons why the potato crop is important to people today. We can refer to the fact that potatoes are good for you or provide details of nutritional qualities. So for example, we could write, because potatoes are good to eat, very healthy and full of vitamins. Or, it's important because it gives us healthy food, full of vitamin C and fibre, and carbohydrates and vitamin B6, and they're low in fat, so they won't make you fat. But the question says give 2 reasons, so we need to keep on reading and find something else. Potatoes are easy to grow. This makes them a perfect crop for farmers in the developing world, who can grow a nutritious food in poor soil. There are plenty of different varieties to choose from, and they usually produce a good harvest. So here we have more reasons about why potatoes are important. They're easy to grow, so that makes them useful for farmers in the developing world because they can be grown in poor soil, and they produce a good harvest. So that gives us some more reasons. We can write that potatoes are easy to grow or grow in poor soil, or they are perfect for farmers in the developing world, or they yield a good harvest. There is another reason as well. If we look towards the end of page 5 at potato facts, we're told potatoes can be converted into fuels for cars. So that's another reason why they're important today. Question 11. No wonder they were winners. Why is the writer not surprised that they were the winning school? Give 2 reasons. So let's continue reading the text. Grow Your Own Potatoes project. In 2005, the Grow Your Own Potatoes project was started. It was one of the first projects to encourage primary schools to grow their own food. Since then, it has become the largest of its kind, with almost 1 million children taking part by 2010. In 2011, the winning school had a child on frost watch at the end of every school day, and if there was a chance of frost at night, they brought their pots of potatoes indoors. No wonder they were winners. So here we have our 2 reasons. The winning school had a child on frost watch, and they brought their pots of potatoes indoors if there was a chance of frost. The paragraph also emphasises the effort that these children went to. So at the end of every school day, so not just 1 or 2 days or every now and then, but at the end of every school day, emphasises that they were very committed to the project, and if there was a chance, shows that they didn't take any chances. So we need to give 2 reasons. We can write one reason as having a child on frost watch every day. Or we could write bringing the potatoes indoors if it was frosty. Or we could have a third reason referring to the effort involved or the commitment of the school or its pupils. For example, it took a lot of effort to bring them in. They chose to be on duty every night. They would have had to work really hard to do all those things, or so lots of children had to be involved in the frost watch. Question 12. Look at the information on pages 4 and 5. How is the information on page 4 different from the information on page 5? So here we have a summarise question. We need to write what the information on page 4 is generally about, or summarise the information on page 4, and then do the same for page 5. So if we look back to the text, we can see that page 4 is all about the past, where it all began and how the potato arrived in Britain. It's talking about events from long ago. But if we look at page 5, we have potatoes today, good to eat and good to grow. So that's about potatoes today, why they're still useful today. And then we have Grow Your Own Potatoes project, again talking about a project that is still going on today, or that has been on recently. So example responses for page 4 are that everything on that page is about things that happened in the past, or is about how the potato was discovered, or about where it all began. And for example responses for page 5, we can have everything is about what is happening now, or is about the 21st century, or about the potato today.